Hello everybody, welcome back to Socktown. I'm Sock's Way Up. In this episode, we're going to start expanding to some high density, create a little bit of a downtown area. And at first, we're going to do a little flyover to kind of recap what we built so far. That first little section was our farm industry. Here you can see a big chunk of our residential so far that we've did a little bit of detailing on in last episode or a couple episodes ago. And this next area that we're zooming in is where we're going to start today. We're going to add a downtown area, and here we go. All right, so playback is at ×3. Please let me know in the comments if this is too fast, if it's the camera moves too much. I'm having a hard time figuring out the sweet spot, but anyways, we want to start off with a football stadium or soccer stadium, depending on where you're from. That would want to be one of the center points of the skyline when you're driving on the freeway. And just like every other area that I've been building where a lot of people will congregate, we're going to put a parking lot. So this one's going to be a larger parking structure for us, probably the largest one that we've done so far. And you're going to see here in a few minutes why this area is going to be packed. The challenge here was to have a high density area and still maintain a pretty good traffic flow. I don't mind if there is some traffic. Some people stopped at stoplights, but I don't want it to be traffic jams. And we do struggle with that at first, and also we struggle with money again. So I shut off the arena for the time being, or the football stadium, and we keep going building these parking lot roads, and they're going to fill up pretty quick as we grow out this high density commercial area out here to start with. And so here I wanted to kind of simulate a downtown area that has, a football stadium or an arena, and they have some commercial around it, some restaurants and some, things for people to do while they're downtown waiting for the game to start, or on a day that there is no game, they still have something to do downtown and get a lot of use out of that. Here we're going to start adding some one-way roads. A lot of downtowns that I've been at thrive off of this. We have the cars going one direction, limiting traffic. At first, it's a little challenging, especially with the realistic population mod, because we start having a ton of people move in here at once. So it's hard to tell if your road structure actually works at first. But eventually, once you let everyone move in and the game catch up, you have an idea of where you need to improve, and we do that later on in the episode. One thing I have been doing that I'm trying to do a better job here is creating places for people to walk when they're trying to get to and from locations. And early on here, I decided to add some paths in between these houses. We do have a lot of high density. I didn't want them just touching each other. I wanted them a little spread out and see how that looks. To be completely honest, this is another area where I'm pushing my comfort zone. High density areas are always confusing for me. So we're trying it out. We're trying to build a downtown area, and just let me know if you like it. Let me know where I can improve. I would love some feedback. Another thing we're trying to do in this area is we want some offices, but most of the time in this game you have to get highly educated individuals before you can successfully build office complexes and have them actually have employees. So this little area here that we're building is for one of the generic universities that comes with the game. In the later episodes, we will build a university campus section. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to dedicate an entire episode to that and an entire area to just that. But we wanted to add some recreational areas for the college students as well, so we try to add some tennis courts and basketball courts. They don't fit very good in that area, so we do move them across. We try in the back first. We move them across the street. So we do want to give a look and feel of a university. I also played around with the idea of adding some residential there. I decided against it. But on the other side of that other one-way road, we are going to add some high-density commercial just around our university area. A lot of colleges I've been around do have commercial around for food, shopping, all those type of things for the college students. So we went with that idea. At this point, we try to turn our football stadium back on to see if our money is in order. It seems to be okay for a little bit. We're blocking parking on the main roads as well. We want to force every car into our parking lots, and later on we add another parking structure. I guess I don't know which direction it'd be, from below the screen at this point, and some more residential. So again, we try to mimic the other side a little bit with our paths so that we can add more residential over here. This area is going to be highly populated. We're going to run into some traffic issues, and later on I show you how I do solve those. A little bit of traffic manager mod, a little bit of figuring out where we want people, or where people are trying to go, and help them get there a lot easier. And I think the idea of adding these paths allows us to break these high density houses apart so they're not right on top of each other, like I said earlier. I like the way it turned out. So we keep plugging away. Here we take a little peek at the skyline. We want to just make sure it's turning out good the way we like it. And I'm enjoying it so far. I think it turned out good for our first downtown area. And again, we're just trying to cram as many people as we can without just painting the entire zonable section. So adding some more paths, making sure people can wander around this little city as much as possible, or as easy as possible. And I think we're gonna be successful. And right here we start doing a little bit of decorating. Again, I'm just throwing in a lot of trees. I'm not adding a lot of little details to this area. I think the buildings themselves stand out enough for me. And we're doing a little maintenance on our city. And over here we start building out another subdivision. This is just me trying to keep the city growing as we're building out the high density. Again, we're trying to let some of those high density buildings level up. And there's nothing better than growing another part of your city while you're waiting for that. And here we're gonna blend in a little bit of high density and low density. One of the things that I really like to do is pretend these are apartment complexes and get a little area of high density, and then behind that, the regular low density neighborhoods. And again, we're adding some here, kind of rinse and repeat the same thing I did in the other area, though this is already an established area in our city. So we are going to add more people to the street, especially with these high density homes. So we're going to have to keep an eye on traffic moving forward. We're finally going to hit that problem in our city. Up till now, it's been pretty much basic. We haven't had to worry about it. Here I was checking on my forest industry. I was trying to get that to level up to 5 so I can finally finish that. But we'd take care of that a little bit later on. Probably another episode we'll do that. It does hit level 5 while I'm recording this, but I didn't go back and finish it. Alright, at this point I decided to add some services to our new area, give them some of their own police departments, their own fire station. Those are absolutely going to be needed. I also added some policies here, trying to make it kind of a clean area. We're banning smoking, we gave them smoke detectors, recycle plastic, all of the good things there. Trying to promote a green city wherever we can in this Socktown. And things are coming along well. We do add a little bit more residential here, but we're going to give it some time, let this grow. Traffic's becoming an issue already. You can see a lot of cars in and out. Got this one section here where they're backing up, and that's not going to be okay. I do like I said, some traffic, but that's way too much for us. And it's going to continue to get worse as these houses level up. Right now they're probably level 1, level 2, so they have less people in it, and the realistic population, the higher level they are, the better chance you have of having a bigger building with more people. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go with our downtown area, and we'll get it tuned eventually. You can see it's starting to pop. We're starting to get a lot of people in. Right now we're not 100% sure if this is due to the influx of new citizens or if this is going to be the regular traffic for this area once it's completely established. I do have some subways in there that I was playing around with. I ended up deleting those because I'm going to revisit that later on. I haven't used subways in City Skylines since the recent, or not so recent, update earlier this year with Sunset Harbor, where some things did change with that, and it confused me a little bit, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time getting more familiar with that again, and we'll get back to that. So there we added a unique building there to give some character to our skyline, and I think it's starting to come together. I'm really excited to see this once it completely grows and gets completely leveled up to see what our skyline here is going to look like. And here next we kind of finish up our first wave of the city with some more trees, some more, clutter, I guess you could say, for the area to make it look a little more complete. I want this whole city to be filled with trees as if it was a large forest that we just built a town on top of when we get done. And it'll be exciting. I do have a cinematic replay set up to do a before and after of the city when we get done with it. Be pretty cool, I think. At this point, we transition into fixing some of the traffic issues that we've already seen. We got rid of that road. It's not needed. We're adding in a stoplight here to maybe help the traffic flow a little bit. That's not going to do it either. There's a lot of people crossing that road that are slowing things down, so we decided to add some pedestrian pathways. I like these raised ones because you got to go over the intersections or under them. I like the way they look. I don't know how many cities actually have this. This is where I kind of break my rule of realistic. I have no idea, but I really dig it. And so we do this first one just to kind of see how much it improves in that area. We also added the asymptomatic. Wow, that's not it. I debated for a good 5 minutes whether or not to leave that clip in of me saying asymptomatic, and I did. Asymmetrical roads, because in that area where I did that earlier on, there's more traffic coming out than in, and there's no need to have 3 lanes just turning left. So instead we allowed 4 lanes out, 2 lanes into the shopping area, and it seemed to improve the flow pretty much instantly, but also limiting the amount of people, or eliminating people walking in those intersections helped. So we decided we're going to swing that all the way down to the end of the area that we've started so far and give them some ramps to get up and down on this pathway as needed in the different areas, and then eliminate people from walking across the street at as many possible areas as we can. And that really, besides controlling the lanes, which you saw me do, where I was like, you can only turn in this lane, you can only go straight in this lane. We try to do that as much as possible to force traffic into the lane they need to be in, so that if you're turning, you're in the turn lane. If you're going straight, you're in the straight lane, so that there's not mixed traffic. And that seems to help a lot too. We do use the traffic manager mod for that, to get that going. But here you can see we get a lot of these pathways, a lot of ramps, a lot of options for people that do not include crossing through traffic. And once we use traffic manager mod to block them from walking across the street, the traffic just frees up because the cars are able to flow, not have to worry about hitting pedestrians, not have to worry about slowing down. And it was pretty simple. I mean, it just took a little bit of pathing to allow the people to walk around, and it was good. So that's the beginnings of our downtown area. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it, if you liked it, if you thought there's areas that I should redo or make better. Let me know. I'd love some collaboration on this. You can see 3,600 people already in this area. We did cram a lot in, and you can pretty much see there's not very many cars driving through right now. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Moving forward, I'm going to try to release about 3 of these a week. Maybe every other day is a good cadence for me. I'm really loving the way the city's turned out. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Socktown.